Let's see. Vertical shift up or down. This one we don't have a vertical shift because we don't have a number out at the end. So let's just put none. It's not going to move up or down, but it is going to move to the right pi over 2. My amplitude is positive 2, and you see that negative? That means we're going to flip it. So I would make a note somewhere to make sure you flip this graph. Your period is 2 pi over the number in front of x, and for this problem it would be 6. So 2 pi over 6 would reduce 2 pi over 3. And my domain is all real numbers. Alright, so my amplitude is 2. It's going to go up to positive 2, and it's going to go down to negative 2. Since I don't have a vertical shift, I'm not going to move this up or down. It's just going to be from positive 2 to negative 2. So go ahead and do your range, negative 2 to positive 2. You can draw the middle if you want. Okay, so with my sine function, I'm going to start in the middle. Even though it's flipped, you still want to start in the middle on a sine function. But instead of starting at 0, I'm going to move to the right pi over 2. So I'm going to start here. Okay, now I'm going to go through a full cycle by the time I get to pi over 3, a distance of pi over 3. And we talked about yesterday how you have 6 tick marks before you get to pi. So pi over 3 would be at 2 tick marks. So in 2 tick marks, I'm going to be back at the same point. That my full cycle is going to be in between those 2 points. So it's going to be really squished. With the sine function, halfway in between these 2 points, I'm going to still be in the middle. Because it normally goes up and comes back down through the middle. Now, we're going to flip it, right? So instead of coming up first, we're actually going to go down to the minimum and then come back up to that middle point. So where you hit that minimum, it's going to be in between these 2 tick marks. And then you're going to go up to the maximum. That's going to be in between those 2 tick marks and come back down. So that is one full cycle. And then we're just going to repeat it. So if you notice, every tick mark, I'm going to end up back in the middle. Right, so I'm going to come down. In between the tick marks, I'm going to hit my minimum, and then I'm going to hit my maximum. Minimum, maximum. You'll just draw your sine function throughout this graph. Make sure at every tick mark you're ending up back in the middle. So it should look something like this, really scrunched together. All right, very last example. Let's see, we have a cosine function. Our vertical shift will be down 1. Horizontal shift will be to the right 3. Our domain is all real numbers. Our amplitude, we have an amplitude, see this negative sneaky 1? So our amplitude is 1, and I would make note that you're going to flip it. All right, and your period is 2 pi over the number in front of x. So 2 pi over pi, which will reduce to 2. All right, so my amplitude is 1. I'm going to go from -1 to 1. But I'm also going to move that down 1. So my amplitude is normally at 1, I'm going to move it down to 0. The minimum is at -1, I'm going to move it down to -2. And if you want to draw the middle, you can draw the middle. So these are the points that I'm going to hit throughout my cycle. Alright, so that's telling me my range is from -2 to 0. With cosine, normally I start at the top and I start coming down, but we're going to flip it. So on this graph, we're going to start at the bottom. And normally we start out at 0, but this time we are going to move to the right 3. Yeah, move to the right 3. So I'm skipping every other one. 1, 2, 3. Oh, not in the middle. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm sorry. So this is the beginning of my cycle. Okay, now I'm going to hit my full cycle by the time I go a distance of 2. In 2, like I said, we're going every other one. So 1, 2 will be here. 1, 2. And that's going to be my full cycle. Okay, so halfway in between these 2 points, I'm going to be at my maximum since it's a cosine graph. Halfway in between the first 2, I'm going to be in the middle. Halfway in between the last 2, I'm going to be in the middle. So your full cycle looks like this. Okay, so every tick mark, you're at a different spot for this graph. If you can see that pattern. If not, I mean, you can just go a distance of 2, 1, 2. In the middle, I'm going to be at the top, and in between that, I'm going to be in the middle. Whatever helps you graph. In some graphs, it might be easier to look at the pattern and see, okay, every tick mark, I'm going to change positions in my little wave. And for other graphs, it might be better just to look at your period and cut it in half and cut that in half, stuff like that. Whatever helps you draw the right graph. But your graph should look like this. All right, so you have a worksheet to do. There's also extra practice. The answers to the extra practice is going to be on your calendar. And there are some parts of the extra practice that might help with your real worksheet. So it might be worth a look on the extra practice. But y'all have a good day. If y'all have any questions, just email me. And y'all have quiz tomorrow. So good luck.